of LiviJoy Hoops. I'm here today filming at this beautiful gallery. We are showing off the hoops behind me. These are all made by LiviJoy Hoops, which is me. And so I'm going to talk about what hooping means and the fact that hooping is made for everyone and anyone can do it. The hoops know no gender, no age. It's good for fitness, it's good for fun, it's good for dance and building coordination. They also make great gifts. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if you're a beginner hooper and you are starting off with hooping around the waist, you want to make sure that you have the right type of hoop for you. Something this big, I know this seems rather huge, this is going to help you develop the muscle memory you need to feel successful at hooping. So it's a nice slow rotation that gives you the time to build and work on your muscle memory. If you have a hoop that's too small, something say this size from the toy store, dollar store, you have to wiggle quite fast to keep this going. Especially if you're a beginner, you have to work really hard and it's just going to crash onto the floor. So definitely start with a larger hoop. And there's a few different ways to finding your size. I like to have people start off with measuring up to their belly button. So find the distance from the floor up to your belly button. If you're curvy or if you like a slower speed, you can go up to your chest level. If you're petite or athletic, you can go down a couple of inches. So this one is a 40-inch hoop. It's a great middle of the road size for most people starting out. And this is the smaller of my fitness style hoops. So I start people off with the fitness style hoops because they're heavier. So it has the extra weight to help send it around. If the hoops are too lightweight, they're going to feel more challenging. So these are the classic beginner waist hoops. These are the fitness hoops. And when you determine your size, that's going to be in like 38, 39, 40, up to 44 inches. So you can put that information if you're ordering on the website. If you already know your basics in waist hooping and you want to get into learning some fancy tricks, like bringing it up to chest level, dropping your arms in. This is called shoulder hooping. This is called hoop dance. And you can turn some music on and kind of rock out a little bit with your hoop and develop a hoop flow. You can also hoop around the legs. And bring it back up. A little bit of off body. These are called your dance weight hoops. They're not as heavy as the fitness hoops, so when you're doing things overhead, they're going to feel a little bit more manageable. So these can be a little bit smaller because by the time you've developed that muscle memory, you have that ability to work with a smaller hoop. So I also offer some intermediate options. If you've already got some tricks and you're starting to work more with some hand hooping, you want something that's going to be more lightweight. This is an intermediate hoop. And similar, this is a polypropylene hoop without tape on it. It has a nice smooth feel, which can help if you don't like the distraction on your hands. So working on developing your isolations, these are considered the cores of some of your off-body tricks. And from here you can take it and do all kinds of fun, dancy, flowy things. Kind of add some pizzazz into your hoop dance. So that would be more of an intermediate level. These are the sport polypros. They're a thicker variety. So beyond that, if you are even more advanced and if you're kind of considered more of a hoop trickster, there are other options as well. And here the tubing gets a little skinnier and lighter, so you can make your movements even faster. nice and smooth. This material is, polypro is considered more advanced and it's more performer quality. Compared to some of the dollar store hoops, these are gonna react a lot better to your movements and not feel so flimsy. So you might be asking, what's the difference between a handmade hoop and a toy store hoop? These are a little pricier than the toy store hoops. And you might say, well, why would I spend $45 for a beginner hoop if I can get something from the toy store? Which are a lot cheaper, but they're not as durable. It's a different material altogether. So the polypro is a performer material, as I said. The toy store hoops are made from LDPE, which is a low density polyethylene. And sometimes, like the dollar store ones, are made of paper. So they're gonna bend in a week and you're gonna be frustrated. They're too lightweight, so you're gonna feel like they're not working for you and you're gonna give up. So you really want to consider, if you're getting into hooping and hoop dance, it's worth spending the money on a handmade hoop. And these are made with love, they're made by my own hands, they're not made in a factory. So just kind of understanding the difference between a toy store hoop and a performance hoop that you're gonna feel successful with. And you're gonna feel like if you're giving a gift, it's gonna last them a long time and they're gonna really get a lot of joy from it. So I also make hoops for kids, because hoops are for kids too, right? We often think of kids just being, the only ones that use hoops, but adults use hoops. And I actually got started with hooping when I was 35. So I never even did it as a kid. I just picked it up in my mid-30s, mostly for my son, who was 5 at the time. And he showed an interest, and so I started making him hoops. And then a couple weeks later, I decided to make myself a hoop. And here we are. My son is 10 years older, and I've taken it to the direction where I have a business, and I'm still cranking out hoops, and it's my passion, and I love to share it with everyone and see everyone progress. They see it and they say, oh, I could never do that. I hear that very often, and hooping is very confidence building. If you give it a chance, you say, one day I couldn't do that, but you pick it up and you try, and you take some tutorials online, and you start to build the confidence as you learn, and you feel better about yourself, you really do. And you build the coordination. So if you take 2 hoops and practice, you're building skills that are really good for working your brain, and it builds coordination and balance, and you can do some really fun stuff. So back to the kids' hoops, got a little sidetracked there. I make hoops that are generally from ages 3 and up. So little ones, if you're getting one for your toddler, they're not quite able to make the connection from the body movement, moving the hips back and forth, to the circle. So you could start to teach them between the ages of 3 and 4 on up. So typically my kids' hoops start at like the age 3 to 4 size. But I measure the kids' hoops the same way that I do for adult hoops. So I like to start them off at their belly button, but we know that kids grow fast, right? So I would upsize them an inch or 2, just to make sure they're gonna grow into it. Because the hoops do last a long time, so they are gonna be able to grow into it. I have some stock available now that can be picked up, and I can also ship hoops. So I'm located in Marysville, and I have a shop there where you can make an appointment and shop from what I've got. I've got more than what's shown here, and I can help you find your size, and I can also break down some of the basics in person. I can also ship hoops if you're not here or in the area, or if you want to send a gift to someone. So these are constructed with a push button. Let's find it here. So when you order a hoop online, it will come to you in a package coiled up like this. So you just remove the packaging and then let the hoop open up. And you're going to need some time to breathe before you can connect it. But you just push the button back together and you're good to go. And when you order an adult size hoop online, let's see, these are going to be a little different. This is called an infinity collapsible. So you push it down, squish it into a figure 8, you fold it in half. So when you order one of these, it will come to you looking like this. So what you'll do is you'll find the connection points. There are 2 here, marked with a parallel tape. So you'll let the hoop open out with the center there, and then you'll pull it out into your circle. And you'll kind of flex it until it's nice and flat and ready to use. So that's how these will come shipped to you. It's a little easier to ship something smaller than it is something this big. So I wanted to talk a little bit about learning how to get the basics down if you're unfamiliar with that and you're starting off with a hoop and you kind of don't know where to start and you're on your own. I can tell you that YouTube will answer a lot of your questions. It's kind of a rabbit hole. But just kind of getting started with your hula hoop, you're going to hold it out in front of you nice and flat like you're making a table, and it's going to be touching your lower back here. And using your forearms to support the hoop nice and flat, you're going to wind yourself up, and if you're right-handed, try sending it to the left. So you're going to use your forearm to push the hoop across, and then just start by pushing it across a couple times, getting a feel for the hoop going around. Don't worry about the waist movement yet, but when you're ready, add the movement, and that's going to be a front and back, pushing front and back. And you can use your knee kind of as a hinge so that your hips can move a little easier. And it's continuous movement. As soon as you stop moving, the hoop will fall. So keep it steady, keep it continuous. And if this front and back motion isn't comfortable for you, try a horizontal stance. So switch your feet so they're shoulder width apart, and your movements are going to be out to either direction. So it's side to side. And again, it's continuous. Don't stop moving. Keep it going. Tap your feet if that helps. Or find some music. And just keeping your arms out of the way. Once you get used to the basic movement, you can start to play around with moving your feet. Walking in the same direction can help. It extends the amount of time that the hoop is circling, but you don't want to walk in the opposite direction because it'll fall down really fast. So you're getting started, a couple of troubleshooting pointers. Make sure that your torso is upright and maybe even keep a skyward gaze. You don't want to angle your body down by looking at the hoop because that pushes the hoop down. So I hope those pointers help you. But again, if you have any questions about that, or if you want to learn how to do certain tricks, there's so many tricks you can learn on YouTube. That's how I started. I was on my own. I didn't have classes. I was just all on YouTube, self-taught. And yeah, it's a great place to start. And you can teach your kids that too. One thing I've noticed that when kids pick up a hoop, they will stand directly in the middle of the circle and they'll throw the hoop around. Sorry, I didn't do that right. They'll throw it around, but you want to remind them, if you're helping the kiddos, to place the hoop at their back and kind of help them. And that will help get the hoop started. So that's a common little thing that I see with the littles. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I've got going on here. Some of these are some of the taped polypro hoops. So these are good for the performance tricks and things like that if you want to get flashy. These are beautiful in the sun and even on the stage lighting. If you've got a performance, the lights will just make this pop and shine. So I do a lot with polypro, with the trick hoops. I have several colors of the basic tubing. If you go onto my website, I have an Etsy shop and I have a website, LiviJoy Hoops. There's lots of information about getting started and choosing colors, but you can always just message me and see if I can help you out there with any other information. So I think we have stock available if you are interested in purchasing any of these that you see here today. I have, we have a pickup location in Everett that you can just put a message on the event page, and we can arrange a pickup date and time that works for you. Or you can come to my shop in Marysville, and like I said, I can kind of show you some pointers, and you can pick out colors. You can also place a custom order online and then arrange for a pickup. There are several colors, as I mentioned, not only with the tubing, but also the tapes and the grip tape. That the possibilities are endless. If you have a theme, you want to do like a Seahawks hoop or Mickey Mouse hoop, anything you dream, I can do. I really enjoy just kind of crafting whatever is on your mind and whatever personalizes your hoop for you.
Anybody have any questions?
Questions?
So, what's your most popular starter hoop when somebody is just, maybe they're 30 or 40 years old and they want to start hooping? What are you recommending for them?
So I recommend the fitness hoops. These here are a bigger diameter and they're heavier, so they're going to be easier to get them started, and they help you develop the muscle memory. So when I first started, I was following directions online, and I ended up making a hoop for myself that was, I think it was 46 inches. This is a 44-inch hoop. So this one, comes up to here on me, but this hoop that I made for myself was this big. But that was how I learned. I never had hoops as a kid, so it really gave me somewhere to start from the ground up as an adult, So yeah, something large. The fitness weight hoops here are going to be the way to go for starting off with the basic hooping.
And tell me again how it was that you even got started, Livy.
Way back, oh gosh, I think it's been 10 years now. Asher was 5, and he picked up a hoop at my friend's house, and he just rocked it like a pro right out of the gate. I'm like, well, this kid needs a hoop. So I went online and I looked up, what I needed, and we put his hoop together, and I remember it had red and black tape on it, and just a couple weeks later, I thought to myself, what, it's time. I need to make myself a hoop. So I made a hoop for myself, and I was really shy in the beginning, and I didn't like anybody watching me practice. So anyone, if you're feeling really shy or not very confident about your abilities to hula hoop, I've heard a lot of people say things like, I don't have the right body type, I'm too old, or I'm not a girl. I can tell you that hooping is not judgmental. The circles don't care if you're a boy or girl, man or woman, or how old you are. I've seen faces of 70-year-olds light up because they can still do it, and that's just the joy that I love seeing, and that's why I love doing what I do. So, it's been a really encouraging journey for not only me but other people.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So what about exercise hooping? I've seen things online about exercise hooping. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you can kind of tailor your own fitness routine. Doing hooping, like I've been just kind of playing around in this space of time, and I'm already, my cardio, my heart rate is up just from doing a little bit of hooping. You can change the speed of your hoop by just, going faster with your movements, and you can really speed it up, and you're gonna notice your heart rate going up. You can incorporate things like, doing your squats with the hoop, which is also good for the brain because you're thinking about doing more than one thing. You can do lunges while hooping. So challenging your balance and coordination. You can also use a hoop for Stretching. I like that it has a symmetry that kind of offers some creative, it's something to hold on to and place your arms in a way and roll it around. So you can kind of get a different type of movement with it. Just, holding out like this, you're stretching your forearm and your shoulders and your upper back here. You can get creative with it for stretching and fitness. Thanks, Karen.
Can you do 2 hoops at a time?
I can.
Will you show us?
Yeah, let's see if I can find 2. It's important to have hoops that are the same size. I could pick up this bundle of hoops. They're all different weights and sizes, but I'm not going to feel very successful if I do that. Let's see. Okay. So once you start to get a lot of your hoop dance basics down, you can work on getting fancy with it and really challenging your core strength, because this does add a new level of core strength. Woohoo!
That's amazing.
Now my heart rate is up. Thanks, Karen. Yes, and the hand doubles with the hand hooping. Like I said, these are good for building coordination. Yeah. So fun. And like I said, it's confidence building. It's something that you could share with your family and your kids or your friends. There's a whole entire online community of hoopers. If you're like, I don't understand hooping, go online and look at Facebook groups. Hoopers, they are by the thousands, and you can reach out to communities, and it's really fun. Ooh, I'm out of breath. It works.
Well, that's great, and especially in this time of COVID, this is something you can do at home, but you still have an online group to
Absolutely
chat with and hang with, so
Absolutely.
that's so important.
Yeah, and it's something that you can do in your living room. It doesn't take up a lot of space to be able to do, and indoors, if you're stuck inside because of bad weather, hoop in your living room. It's easy.
That's great.
So do you have a deadline for ordering for the holidays?
I do. So it is a very busy time of year. So if you are interested in ordering, try to get your orders in by the end of this week. Preferably, I can do last minute orders if they're local pickups. But as far as shipping, we're getting into the whole postal conundrum where I can't guarantee a Christmas delivery based off of the post office. So
let's get our orders in by the 11th.
Yeah,
if you
orders
want it
in by the 11th,
delivered by the
please.
postal service.
Yeah, and I'm available. I have a Facebook page, LiviJoy Hoops. I have an Instagram. I have a little bit of stuff on my YouTube channel. It has a video on how to collapse and open up your hoop. So if you get your hoop and you're like, what was that she did? And you're confused, go onto my YouTube channel. I have a little tutorial that will break this down again for you. So, and I also have instructions that I send out with my hoops. So shouldn't have an issue, but yeah, I'm always available by message or email. So you can reach out if you have problems.
So I'm ready to order. Tell me the first thing I need to do and then the next couple steps to get me started.
So if you go onto the website, you're going to want to look for the drop-down menu for beginners. If you're a beginner, there's a lot of options for you. But you can go in and you can read about the basics of like finding your size. If you don't remember what I talked about here, you can go back and read about that. And then you can proceed to the design that you like, and you could choose that and choose your size, and then just proceed to checkout.
Great.
And if you're doing a local pickup, you can email me and we can go from there.
Thanks so much, Olivia.
Yeah.
So LiviJoyHoops.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. And LiviJoy on Instagram, correct?
Yes. LiviJoy Hoops. And
LiviJoy
it's all
Hoops.
one word. There's no spacing. So.
Excellent. I'm just curious, what's the lifespan of a typical hoop?
These will last a very long time. So when I was talking about buying a hoop for your kids and going up a size, you're gonna know they're not gonna outgrow it like, next week, because they last a long time. You may find that over time, because the hoop, it's not indestructible, the tape itself will become a little scratched up or nicked up, especially if you let your kids do the walk the dog on concrete or gravel. It's definitely really bad for the hoops. But the option with these, it's always worth retaping. I like to do hoop makeovers for my local customers. The tubing itself, it will last a very long time. So let's clean that up and refinish it if we need to. Yeah.
So a great Christmas gift for kids,
Yes.
because she'll retape it when they go out there and do it in the gravel to show off to their friends.
Exactly.
And
And
they're getting walk the dog. That was so cool.
It definitely saves on things in the environment. You think about all these dollar store hoops and the toy store ones that just kink. Those end up in the landfill, right?
Right.
So I'm selling and making something that can be, re-taped up if it needs to. These don't just end up in the landfill.
Right.
And, they can also be cut down. If you want to make this an arm hoop, I can adjust the size. I can make them smaller. If you start off with a big beginner hoop and you're like, this is too easy now, let me make it smaller for you. I can work with your advancement.
That
Makes me happier than just.
That is so cool. How many gifts like that are out there at Toys R Us or beyond?
Right.
So that's wonderful, Livy.
Thanks, Jean.
Well, gosh, we're so glad you joined us today, and
Thank you.
LiviJoyHoops.com, and for the beginner on up to the experienced.
Yeah.
She's in Marysville, local.
Oh, and if you ever get fancy, I don't have any here, but we also specialize in fire hoops. So if you see like the fire hoopers, the fire dancers, we make those as well. So
Excellent.
we like that.
Thank you.